So my name is Justin Touchstone. I am the Assistant Director of Program Quality at Idaho Career and Technical Education. That's a mouthful. I oversee a team of six program managers that help facilitate career technical education across the state of Idaho and here in the Boise School District. So what is CTE? That is Career and Technical Education. So if you hear me use CTE, that's what I'm referring to. If you have grandparents or maybe your parents might know it as vocational education, but we moved away from vocational education to career and technical education a few years ago. But our mission statement's right there on the screen. We are the organization in the state that prepares youth and adults for high skilled in-demand careers. And we work in all sorts of arenas. We work at the middle school level, we work at the high school level, we work at the post-secondary level, and we also have adult ed in our office. So we help adults who are being retrained or are wanting to get their GED and to move on to better careers. And so we're going to talk a little bit about what is out there for you guys and how do you enter into the world of work. And that's always an important factor for us at CTE, is how to get kids and students and adults into a good paying job while living and working here in Idaho. Let me advance here. So CTE, we're all about doing what you love, harnessing your abilities, learn by doing, and connecting to real careers. And we're going to kind of cover these three things. And so whenever I have an opportunity to speak or to present about career and technical education, I always like to encourage students, you have to think about, what do I love doing? And then is there a career associated with what I love doing? And then how do I enter that career? Is it a technical certificate? Is it 2 years of college? Is it 4 years of college? Is it 6 years of college? So you kind of need to ask yourself, what do I really love doing? Maybe you love, going out and gardening and working in the yard and doing those sorts of things, planting plants and tending your garden, tending your your plants. But there's jobs potentially in landscape design or horticulture or greenhouse management. There's excuse me. There's lots of great opportunities. So it's learning, what do I love to do? And then how do I enter that as a career? And at what points do I want to enter? And how much money do I want to make as I start through? Because each entry point has a different salary associated with it. A little bit about quick breakdown of who we are and what we do. We answer to the State Board of Education. We are not part of the State Department of Education. We are a separate division, a separate department. And so Idaho is unique in that we're one of a few states where CTE is not part of the State Department of Ed. And so we have our own budget to manage. We actually manage about $16 million a year. And I actually get to manage about $8 million of that for added cost funding to help support career and technical education across the state. We have 6 technical colleges that we support and a whole bunch of high schools. We're in about 142 high schools across the state. And 17 career and technical schools. And you guys actually have one of those here in the Boise School District at the Darrell Dennis Center. That is a career and technical school. They get extra money and some extra funds to offer CTE in the state. So we have a big budget. We do a lot of cool things, and we're going to kind of get into that really quick. So these are the areas that we oversee. We oversee ag, foods, and natural sciences. And that could be greenhouse management, ornamental horticulture, plant science, animal science, all those sorts of cool, most people think of the farm or working on the local ranch, but ag is so much more. There's precision agriculture, there's food processing, working in foods as a food scientist, those sorts of things. We have business and marketing education, which is, accounting, business management, digital communications, and those sorts of pathways. We have engineering and technology education, which could be computer science, it could be cybersecurity, it could be pre-engineering, it could be drafting, family and consumer sciences and human services. That involves early childhood education, that involves culinary arts, health professions and public safety. That's fire and police services, CNA, medical assisting. Trades and industry would be like automotive, precision machining, welding, those sorts of pathways. So we oversee all of those across the state. We oversee the funding, we oversee the development of the teachers, we oversee the standards, and we help prepare students to go through a pathway to enter into the workforce. And that's kind of the connection. So we have lots of partnerships with industry, and we have lots of partnerships with the school district, and try to help students find their way forward into good careers and good um, good paying jobs, things that they can live and work and stay here in Idaho if possible. So CTE is not your traditional classroom. We it's different because we make it meaningful. We get to apply your learning from your other classes. So we take the algebra and we apply it to crushing trusses. I used to teach pre-engineering in the West Ada School District, and we would calculate forces and vectors in trusses, but we got to build the truss and then take a guess at how much force it would resist, and then build it and then crush it, and then compare our numbers to our math. And so you learn to apply what you're doing and what you're learning in your other classes through hands-on activities and hands-on work. These are just some pictures of students across the state. We have welding, we have CNA, we have culinary arts. I think this is the Mackey aquaponics program. So Mackey, Idaho has an aquaponics program where they grow trout, and they actually work with Idaho Fish and Game, and they release trout into the rivers and lakes around Idaho. So if you like to fish, you might be actually catching fish raised by students in the state of Idaho. So those are some opportunities. We have firefighting, greenhouse management, and precision machining all represented here. So you can see that CTE might take you outside of the building, and might take you outside and into things that you haven't done, and give you opportunities to explore careers. And that's part of what we want you to do, is figure out, hey, I really don't like doing this. I thought I would love to be a nurse, but I really don't like poking people in the arm and drawing blood, and it kind of freaks me out, and I don't want to do that. But we've just saved you, 4 years of college and hundreds of thousands of dollars in educational fees figuring that out. So that's what career and technical education can do for you, and help you kind of get a gauge on where you want to go and how you want to get there in life. So it's not just a job, it's real careers. And so we connect all of our classrooms to true life careers. And so food scientists, creative directors, that's like the digital communication. So these are all the things that I've already been talking about. So just our pathways aren't just fictitious. They're actually connected to industry, and we have industry partners come in, and maybe they'll come to your classrooms, or they provide equipment, or they provide training for our teachers. And a lot of our teachers come out of industry. I myself spent 13 years in the state of Idaho as an architect, and that's what I did around the state and across the country. And then I moved into teaching because I really liked working with kids, and it was a pleasure for me to bring my experiences as an architect into the classroom. And part of that was, I developed some projects with the Meridian Police Department, where we actually did a real world project for them, for their training facility and some other things. So we bring a different kind of experience to the classroom to help you guys kind of say, boy, that's a really cool career. I'd love to do that. Or no, I don't want to do that. But you figure that out in high school when it's free. And that's the best time to figure out how you want to move forward in life. And there's lots of ways to move forward. The other part of CTE that I think is really, really cool is we believe in developing the whole student, not just the head knowledge or the career knowledge, but also the leadership ability. And so we have what's called student organizations associated with each of our pathways or each of our program areas. And so we have FFA, DECA, BPA, TSA, Technology Student Association, FCCLA, Host and Skills. And these are opportunities for you guys to take what you learn and compete against other students in the state of Idaho. Or if you're good enough, you win at the state of Idaho and you get to go compete nationally. And a lot of the national contests are back east, Florida, DC, Tennessee, Texas. So you get to travel around and see different parts of the country. I was fortunate enough to take a team and won nationals twice in architectural renovation, and then we placed third the next year. And it's a really good experience for students. So we develop you academically, and we develop you as a leader, because there's opportunities to serve as state officers, there's opportunities to serve as chapter officers. And so it's not just skills contests, there also are leadership contests like public speaking and debate and other things like that. So you get an opportunity to really fill out your resume. And that's an important piece as you guys move forward in your career, is how do you set yourself apart from everybody else who's applying for that job? And this is one opportunity. And lots of colleges recognize CTSOs as a leadership piece on your application, and it kind of bumps you up the list in the application process if it's a competitive college. So there's great opportunities in CTE. There's great places to go and things to do. just some quick numbers. Stats are always good and important to kind of show the total picture of what we're doing. So there's 95,000 kids, more than 95,000 kids enrolled. And some of them are duplicates. So these are kids who are maybe taking multiple CTE classes, but there are 95,000 active kids currently in the state of Idaho participating in CTE. So you're not just kind of one of those kids, but this is a big group of students across the state. We have 701 total programs in 142 school districts and 17 technical colleges. And you can kind of see the enrollment data across that little chart at the bottom. So CTE is powerful. It has a lot of good potential. And this is the slide that I like to spend some time on, but because this shows the value of what we're trying to do. So you learn about work. So CTE allows you to learn about work in your classroom. You can learn about different career fields, different opportunities, different places to go. You learn through work. So within the classroom, you might have opportunities for some internships or pre-apprenticeships where you go out and work for a while for an employer. You might get some on the job training. I know, there's some combines like construction combines and other things like that where employers come out and help teach you, and they look at you, maybe potentially hiring you. And one of the cool new things that we're working on here in Idaho is apprenticeships and getting the apprenticeship model brought back. So just another way to enter the world of work and youth apprenticeships. So you might be able to work your junior and senior year of high school, earn 16, 17 bucks an hour. So you're earning and learning, and then you get to apply that forward into a career. So maybe you get done with your apprenticeship, the employer hires you on the spot and you continue working for them, or they hire you and they really like you, so they send you on to additional training. That's the golden ticket for all kids, is to get a company that likes you, you work hard, and then they help train you and help get you those additional industry certs or additional training through college or whatever that might look like. So CTE is the pathway to lots of great opportunities. And that's how you guys need to look at it, is what's my pathway forward, and then does CTE provide that pathway? And we have lots of great opportunities there in the Boise School District. And then these are some of excuse me, our partners across the bottom who we partner with across throughout the years to help bring CTE to you guys. I'm going to skip through these slides pretty quick, but this just shows a lot of the pathways and what they would connect to for industry and the growth. So if it's got a big positive plus, so trades, transportation, and utility work, right? There's 24,000 jobs in the projected growth coming up in the next few years. So there's always lots of potential growth, and it's always connected to CTE. And I think that's an important thing for you guys to think about as you move forward. Gosh, I can go get a degree in this, but is there any jobs available in that field? And if the answer is no, then you've just put a lot of money into an education that you're not going to be able to utilize as you get out of college. So you have to think about what's my best bang for my buck, and then how do I get that done to move forward. This is an important stat I like to share out. So when I talk about lots of ways to enter the workforce and lots of ways to move forward, currently 38% of all jobs in the state of Idaho require high school diploma or lower. But the important piece to remember here is that these are probably your minimum wage jobs, your low paying jobs. They're not going to necessarily give you what's called a sustainable livable wage. If you want to buy a house, you want to buy a car, you want to travel, these are probably not going to offer you that or afford you that possibility. The next section is 22% of the jobs require some college or no degree. So what that would be is like, I've gone to a workforce training and I've gotten a technical certificate. I didn't finish 2 years of college, but I've received some technical certificates. I can enter the workforce. Now these jobs pay typically a little bit better, maybe double minimum wage, maybe a little bit more. Depends on what field you're looking at. If you're in healthcare, you're going to make some money. If you're in information systems, cybersecurity, you can make some pretty good money without maybe spending a whole lot of time in college. And the next one is 10% requires associate's degree. So that's a 2-year college degree. And if you add this up, I mean, the cool thing is 70% of the jobs in Idaho require an associate's degree or lower to get into that workforce. And so as you guys think about what's my next steps, how do I move forward? Eventually, you may have to go on to a 4-year institution. I hold 2 degrees. I have about 10 years of college behind me, and I just enrolled again at ISU to start college again. So you're always learning. That's the important thing. But I didn't start my other degrees till I was almost 30. So you don't necessarily have to do all the school all at once. You might have times where you just like your job requires you to move forward. But that's what that other 30% is those bigger, higher degrees that you might have to move forward on to move up in the company or to get a pay raise and those sorts of things. This is an important slide too. So this speaks to, for every graduate degree it requires, I apologize, my dog's barking in the background here. It requires 2 bachelor's degrees to support a graduate degree. So I have a master's degree. So what this is saying is my master's degree requires 2 people to support me in my job potentially. Now, the other thing is for those 2 bachelor's degrees, it requires 1 year or 7 1-year certificate or 2-year degree diploma. So for every graduate degree, it takes 9 people to support that degree potentially. And so think about the labor force is down here in the bottom. It's down here in the 7 and 2. And that's where you guys want to think about, how do I enter the world of work? What's it going to take? And can I start off down in the 7 and move my way up to that 1? This is for the parents. These are always important slides. 94% of CTE students who are concentrators, they've gone through the programs of pathways, graduate from high school. 59% of those go on to college, which is higher than 38% of a kid who hasn't spent time in CTE. And 97% of high school CTE concentrators find a job or moved into post-secondary education or join the military. So that's a positive placement. That's the positive placement number. So 94% graduate, 59% went on to college, and 97% received a positive placement after school being a CTE student compared to other Idaho students. So CTE has value. Post-secondary, there's 58,000 students enrolled in post-secondary CTE currently. In workforce training, there's 53,000. So there's about total in post-secondary, or what we call post-secondary training or adult learning education. There's about 58,000 students. 92% of those go on to find a job, and 62% found a job within their field. And it depends on what field you're in, on whether or not you're going to find a job and kind of what's hot and what's happening. So CTE has some really positive impacts. It's a valuable education, and it gets you into the workforce in lots of different ways and lots of different avenues. So putting skills to use, right? So the goal really would be to get an apprenticeship or get a job where the employer helps pay for your school, or gives you a learning stipend or something like that as you move forward. So that the goal is to put your skills to work so you don't have college debt as you go forward, because that's what saddles a lot of people with trouble, is having that high debt and not be able to get a job. And it's never too late to get started. So even if you're graduating high school right now and you're like, man, I really wish I would have learned about welding at the Darrell Dennis Center, I could have done that. You can start welding at the post-secondary without ever having stepped foot in a high school CTE program. And so if you want to know more about that, I can get you in contact with the transition coordinators. They can help get you enrolled. They can get you started in CTE at the post-secondary level. So it's never too late to get started in some of these opportunities, even if you're just learning about it and you're going to graduate here in a few weeks. So there's great opportunities and great employment chance availability for you guys. And it's across a broad spectrum of career pathways. So that's my last slide.